Hello, everybody. I'll introduce myself, then I'll let Jaccie introduce herself, then we'll get started. But hello, my name is Maggie Schmidt. I'm currently a P3 here at the School of Pharmacy, and I'm really excited to talk about our project with Read to Lead.
Yep, I'm Jaccie, also a P3 third-year pharmacy student. Yeah, let's get into it.
Cool. So what is Read to Lead? So Read to Lead is a company who has created a vast series of online computer games and educational programs targeted all towards middle school students across the United States. So essentially this program was geared sort of towards teachers and school districts to help provide different career kind of outlets and different informational career activities for these middle school students to allow them explore different careers that they might not be as familiar with as they are going through school. And it's essentially encouraging students to kind of be their own boss and learn how to make critical thinking and decision-making skills. And throughout this entire process, their goal is to empower the next generation of readers and leaders across the United States. So where do we come into play? So we were very fortunate. Dr. Ravi Patel formed a connection with the Read to Lead company, and he asked Jaccie, myself, as well as Ben Johnson, who was not able to be here this afternoon, to help create this pharmacy themed game for the company because they wanted to create some more healthcare games, specifically a pharmacy themed game. So throughout our kind of connection with this company, we were able to collaborate with different workers from Read to Lead to create kind of the plot and storyline of some different games, as well help to create characters, and most specifically the pharmacist intervention. That's really where our biggest role was. Obviously, we have learned a lot about pharmacy throughout our 3 years in pharmacy school, so we were able to kind of give different patient case scenarios and things like that to help them create the game. And then throughout this process, we were able to create 4 different pharmacy theme games, which are now online. You can go to readtolead.org and play all 4 of the games for free, and anyone with access to a computer can do that, which is really exciting. The first game was themed about an asthmatic pediatric patient who we counseled to help use their inhaler properly. The second game was about vaccination hesitation, in which the pharmacist encourages a patient to get the second dose of their COVID vaccine. The third game was kind of a career crossroads game where the pharmacist was able to help the pharmacy intern who worked at the pharmacy kind of decide and make an important decision in her career pathway. And then the fourth game was an unconscious bias themed game where the pharmacist was able to kind of help dismantle an unconscious bias that was negatively impacting a patient's care. So they were all really fun games. We encourage you to play it. And Jaccie's going to tell us more about how we implemented these and got them out to the real world.
Yeah, thanks, Maggie. So, right, like she said, we put a lot of hard work into developing these stories, developing these games to put the pharmacist in a boss situation. And as she said, the next step was kind of just the community engagement aspect of the whole thing. So we first had the opportunity to kind of pilot the game with the Junior Healthcare Explorers program, or the JHCE. We got to play the first 2 games that we created with Read to Lead, walk the students through it, kind of get their feedback, see the way they're thinking. And I thought it was very beneficial for us as kind of the creators of it. We also were invited to participate on something called Read to Lead Career Exploration. So about 650 students, middle school students, were reported to have been there. And we just talked about pharmacy. We have a picture right here. This is a picture of one classroom. They're from Arkansas. They made fun of me because I didn't know it snowed in Arkansas, so that was really fun. So that was exciting, and just talking about pharmacy in general to all these students, answering their questions, no matter how crazy they were. The other thing we got to do was actually create a poster that was accepted at PPA's mid-year. So it was fun because before we were kind of more geared towards talking to students and the developers at Read to Lead. So this was our opportunity to share our work with pharmacists. So it was great getting their kind of perspective, seeing what they thought about it and how we could improve it and implement it in the community. And then coming up in the future, we were accepted as a micro session at AACP, and Ben is going to be leading that with Dr. Patel, alongside Ali, I believe, who is pictured right there. So they'll kind of just be talking about what we did, the processes that we've gone through, and how it could be implemented to increase, I guess, pharmacy school applications nationwide. And then we were also invited to participate on a student panel called Promoting the Profession to Generation Z and Beyond. So I will also be going there to, I guess, answer questions. But that's it. We actually didn't put our contact information on here. Maybe we can go back and edit that. But if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.
Excellent. Well, thank you both for sharing your work and for all your ongoing work over the last year. I'd love to throw open questions either in the chat or from the group. Feel free to unmute whenever you're ready, and we can certainly keep an eye open. I'd love to start by asking Jaccie, can you tell us a little bit more about some of your work and what you're going to be presenting in the panel? I'd just love to be able to highlight that.
Sure. So part of the reason that really excited me was because Shay Roth, who was a current P2, and I also got to write a children's book. It was honestly just for fun. And it's great to have seen the impact it's had so far on pharmacy. I wouldn't say we've done a great job at talking about it or making it known. So I think going to AACP will be a good opportunity to really talk about that and highlight how we are making, we're trying to do things to show pharmacy to high school students. Through this game, we're targeting middle school students. And with that book, we were really targeting elementary school students. So it's kind of a full scope. And that really hits the beyond part of the whole student panel.
Thank you for sharing a little bit more about that. And I see a question here in our chat. Colin, would you like to dig into it a little bit further?
Sure, yeah. I was just wondering if we would have the opportunity to play these games or follow along or share this with anybody else, if that was a possibility.
Yeah, absolutely. We can send the link in the chat. I was actually looking on their website earlier and they have like an ad thing on the bottom that says new pharmacy game. So we'll send the link.
Thanks, Colin. Appreciate the interest and excitement. A question that I did want to pose to help round out before we move on to our next presenter, who will be sharing a little bit about a course related to working in data and Python. I wanted to ask Maggie and Jaccie what it's like to have to think about pharmacy from a different perspective. So how did you have to kind of pull your perspective out of what you see and think about daily? Or did you have to bring in your daily experiences as a part of it? What expertise did you bring to the process? And I will argue you absolutely brought expertise. I'm curious how you see it.
I think it was a mix of both, kind of drawing from our experiences, but also kind of learning to work with like an interprofessional team that's not health, like science related. So I think that was probably one of the, I don't want to say bigger challenge, but it was kind of one of the more things we had to adjust to because we're used to using like pharmacy lingo and healthcare terms all day long. So then working with like computer science and educational workers was a lot different from that. So kind of learning how to communicate in a way that they would understand how to write the script for the game was a challenge. But then also we were able to pull from, a lot of these games were community pharmacy focused. So both Jaccie and I have worked at Giant Eagle Pharmacy. So we're able to pull from our different experiences working in the community to kind of say how realistically these things could happen in a pharmacy.
Yeah, going off that, like Maggie said, they really didn't have healthcare background or a healthcare background. So it was kind of a learning curve in the beginning because I remember us trying to explain there are different inhalers. One's a rescue, one is daily, and there's different indications. You use them differently. And they were like, whoa, 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 whoa. And then like would constantly ask for clarification. So I think we both learned how to kind of present it in a way where it didn't have too many follow-up questions so that it was more clear. And I think just talking with them was an easy way for us to step into their perspective and seeing how they understood things. I remember when we did our unconscious bias story, and there was give and take. So when we were doing the unconscious bias story, we were talking about, okay, so this patient's going to go in with an acute condition, and we're going to have to figure out, how to help them best. And then they returned the story to us. So it was constant back and forth of us reading the script. And we saw that they chose lupus, but it was kind of in the final stages of it. And when we were talking about it, we were like, obviously a hypertensive crisis, obviously diabetic ketoacidosis, something you see. But no, they did lupus, which is something we don't see often. So we were like, I guess we'll just go with it. So a lot of give and take in that way as well.
Well, it's always good to have to translate whenever you have your expertise and have to share it with those around you. So thank you for your great work. And before we move on to our next speaker in the Python course, I wanted to share both in the recording as well as in the chat to the previous question. Read to Lead, READTOLEAD.org is where you can learn more, sign up for an account, and access the game. So a virtual and an auditory round of applause for Maggie and Jaccie. Thank you for your work and your presentation. All right.